Yo, what's going on, y'all? I'm Cavell Anderson, and we're back with another VeVe and Ecomi video. In this one, we're going to be talking about basically VeVe, the project, the state of the VeVeverse, and things like that. And if I'm still as bullish as I was, if I still don't believe in the project, things like that. So I've really just been seeing comments where people are saying, "Oh, you're still bullish on the VeVeverse. You're still interested in this and stuff like that." And I think a lot of people have really lost hope because you don't really understand what happens during a bear market. The building stages that things has to go through. And I think that in some ways I communicate well, in some ways I may not communicate as well as I need to, or most times people just really don't listen to everything that I say, like watch the entire video, so they get a gist of what I say, but don't really take the time to understand the overall point of what I'm saying, because I do speak in circles sometimes, because my mind's processing things, and some thoughts don't come out until later on when I've fully spoken, processed everything, and then sometimes the big point comes out later. So it's like the way that I speak isn't necessarily perfect. So yeah, people a lot of times don't understand me, especially if you choose to only watch, oh, I'm gonna watch 3 minutes of what he say and then think that I know what he means. But really, when it comes down to my concerns with the team, more and more situations was coming out where, yo, I don't know if we can trust these people. These people seem kind of a lot more incompetent than they did at the beginning. What's going on? And I think if you've been here for a while, you saw what's taking place, you saw where VeVe started, and you look at where it's at now, it paints a very clear picture that a lot of VeVe's success is luck-based. But a lot of it also wasn't, because they were planning for this way before it ever happened. They were preparing for this. They were getting licenses for NFTs. They knew the importance of this technology. They knew how important this was going to be, how big this was going to be. And that's why you can't say that it was luck, but it was luck finding the right influencers, pushing it, having the right people talk about it at the right times. All of that stuff, you can say it's luck based. Like, what project is going to have somebody like me come out spamming videos, giving a bunch of information, having this type of passion and stuff like that? Like, people can downplay my influence, but if I'm going to jump behind a project, it'll be because of someone like me, especially someone who gets me interested in researching it for myself. Like, I'm not just going to follow any man ever, but I'm not an idiot, and it's very clear that I'm not. So I make people think like, yo, if he got passion like this behind this project, maybe it is something to it, and let me look further into it. Now, there was a point in time where it was a lot more cool to admit that I was a big influence. Now, maybe not so much, but I mean, I really don't care. I'm not here for style points. I'm just here for the investment. And I think a lot of what made VeVe successful, even though it's slept on by the average consumer, which it should be slept on by the average consumer, but it adds up. Like, you have somebody like me in the community with millions of views, and you have other influencers with millions of views. It's very clear where VeVe's biggest sources of marketing came from, because you look on the impressions, like even some of the, like being posted on Marvel and Disney and stuff like that, they don't even have like these conversion rates that's crazy. Like, these companies still advertise. They don't even have the conversion rates where they can put something on their Twitter and it'll do the sales and numbers that VeVe gets. They don't have that. So expecting that, oh, just because they have Disney, that was always going to happen with VeVe. No, it's a lot of companies out here with Disney. Quid had Disney. Look at that. Like, everybody talk about a joke. Like, you don't think Disney's ever posted about Quid? I don't know if they ever have posted about Quid, but I would assume that they have probably retweeted something or tweeted something at some point throughout their time. And still, look at what happened with Quid. So you got to understand that when it comes down to this project, certain things was always going to take a certain amount of time. It wasn't the fact that I was ever impatient and I wasn't going to give VeVe the time. It's the fact of the matter that there came one point in time where it's like, does this company deserve to have my time, my loyalty? They don't respect the influencers. They're doing these under the table deals, and these are not people who are very critical to the project. Yeah, I mean, you need moderators and stuff to manage these platforms, but as far as what's bringing you in this money so you can make all this impact and hire these moderators and stuff like that, it's people like me, people like other YouTubers. And I know me in particular, I never got anything from these guys. Like, they sent me a freaking light at one point in time, a light and some shirts. Like, come on now. Like, I definitely appreciate everything. And it's not like, oh, I deserve more, I need this. Like, no, I don't actually care. But the thing is, you're doing a hell of a lot more for other people who are doing a hell of a lot less than a lot of us who have really had an impact on this project. You've had many millionaires speak out and say, me and my friends got in because of him. And it's like, at the point where you have people saying these things, like even Randy, like Randy really directly connects with these people and attempts to bring these people on. Me, I just talk, and people get inspired and feel like doing their due diligence and stuff like that. That's cool. Randy literally goes out of his way, and I guess they do give him the most benefits out of everyone. They are always in the streams and things like that, but they don't really do for the people who have gotten the project to where it's at right now. I know the community would make you think, oh no, all you influencers are useless. It was really just the IPs, but no. Thinking that it's inevitable, it had the IP. Quid has had this IP for longer than VeVe has existed, and that didn't help them any. It's a lot of companies you've never heard of with this IP. So you would assume that this was VeVe was always an obvious thing. No, it's not obvious unless you have someone explaining how obvious it is. Like that's when it really becomes obvious. Then everyone thinks, oh, we all knew this. This was always going to be obvious. It was always bound to happen. And you don't talk about all the failed companies that has Disney IP and all these big brands IPs and stuff like that. You don't mention those. Those are never talked about. Why? Because we don't know they exist. Like that's why they're not talked about. So you never really view the flip side. So at the point where VeVe starts to look incompetent, of course people are going to be worried and concerned that, did we choose the right company? Is this company really going to go where they think they can go, or are they just naive with big hopes and big dreams? Now, throughout this time, I see that they have continued to hire people. They have continued basically building and doing their best. They have been dropping features. They've been dropping, like I know the bronze tickets are coming and stuff. I know that they have been given utility. Like there's been things added where it's like, okay, this company is slowly working. They're slowly figuring it out. And I think a lot of the stuff that we gave them credit for early on, it was just lucky. They lucked up and did some of the things that needed to be done, more so than it actually ever being, I guess, calculated and that being part of the plan. Some things just worked out perfectly for them. But now I feel like VeVe's at a stage where they're really educating themselves. They're really understanding. They're really figuring it out. And then they're not trying to do things that they're not qualified to do. They're trying to find qualified people to do the things that they know that they're not qualified to do, which I also think is a very solid approach and having longevity. Like I don't want VeVe out here doing stuff that they're not good at doing. Like I love the fact that everyone, like you had a point in time where Trevor was out here doing multiple jobs. Reese was out here doing multiple jobs. You had a lot of people out here doing multiple jobs. And when you're starting out, you got to do what you got to do. But the fact that they are now starting to hire a bunch of people, it lets me know that they have plans for the future. And I still believe that if they make the right decisions, they can accomplish these plans. I know it's certain influencers out here, like my homie Kyle, he sees other projects. He studies and looks into other projects, seeing what some of the other projects are out here doing. So it's harder to have as much conviction in VeVe when you see how they've just been screwing around this entire time and screwing up this entire time. And they were really just passionate collectors with a dream. And then you have people who really out here knowing what they're doing, building gaming platforms and stuff like that. They know what they're doing, and you know that they know what they're doing. And VeVe can't get their hands on people like that. Even with all this IP, VeVe cannot get their hands on people like that. And it's mainly because, like, Hello K has brought up the fact that what they're offering for developers and what they're offering for to pay for certain positions, it's just laughable, especially for VeVe trying to be a premium company, one of the best in the world and stuff like that. So, I mean, they have some kinks that they have to work out when it comes down to these things. But at the same time, I think that they're slowly trying to do their best. Now, I don't know if they ever make it to that finish line that we all signed up for. Well, a lot of us signed up for. I'm not going to say we all. Some people signed up for their own reasons. But I do believe that they are capable of bringing out maybe a Ready Player One or getting close to it at some point in time. Now, will it be before the competition? I don't know, but they still have the IP. And depending on the limitations of these IPs, the NFTs on VeVe, you'll only be able to use these NFTs on things that's approved to work with VeVe. So you can have the best metaverse in the world, but I feel like if these metaverses want to use the NFTs that VeVe has, they're going to have strike some type of deal or partnership with VeVe. I think VeVe, the OMI token, could still be involved. Let's say some company comes out and completely beats VeVe out. If the VeVeverse is complete and utter trash, I feel like some company would still be good enough, have a good enough experience where they would want to partner with Disney, and partnering with Disney and some of these other brands, may mean going through VeVe because VeVe has the first appearances of these NFTs. Unless VeVe's NFTs loses significance that much to where it's worth it for Disney to just create new NFTs, and those are the new NFTs that matter. VeVe just has the old ancient stuff that maybe true collectors, oh, this is the first time on the blockchain, this was the first time it ever existed. We want those, we want that because this was the first time. Yeah, it may be dinosaurs, but we want our dinosaurs. It's like VeVe could become that, but the technology that VeVe is built on allows for so much more, where you can never count out the fact that these NFTs could eventually be tied to something spectacular. So I think that you can't take that away from VeVe, and the historical importance of what VeVe has can always be linked to something. Like, so these NFTs can always, in the future, they can always be made more relevant and more important than they are. Now, will they? Is a whole completely different conversation. So yeah, I don't know if VeVe's NFTs ever actually lives up to the potential that they have, but I think that VeVe has done enough and has been innovative enough to where I'm willing to find out. I'm willing to keep taking a chance. And like I said, I'm far from over leveraged in VeVe at this point. I don't care what happens. Like, if it goes to zero, I'm cool. If it goes up, I'm cool. So why not just hold and see what happens? I think that so many people are looking for that sure thing. Oh, this is definitely going to get me rich. I mean, at one point in time, don't get it twisted, VeVe was looking like that. Now it's more so speculative. Now it's going to take some time to see what they do. They have to deliver. They have to keep hiring. They have to keep working. Now it's clear that VeVe needs to put a lot more in, but I think that it's still a pretty decent opportunity. It's still a great opportunity for a lot of different reasons. I think that there is some money to be made here for an investor. I think that the collector's value that's not going anywhere. I don't believe that the value of these things is going to dwindle away anytime soon. So yeah, let me know what you all think. Let me know how you all feel about it in the comments section. I want to hear some thoughts on it. How you feel about the product selection on VeVe? Do you feel that it's always going to be important? And like the way that they're preparing to move into a whole different country, man. Like, all of this stuff is important. Like, it's important to see what they're doing, because bringing Japan and Asia into this and bringing some of those IPs from over there, that's going to be huge and massive as well. So I'm looking forward to what VeVe does. I'm looking forward to what comes next when it comes down to VeVe, but yeah, I think that this is just the beginning. We don't know where this is going to go, so I wouldn't count VeVe out just yet. Now that I understand and see clearer the steps, and before when I was critical of VeVe, I was asking questions, never getting answers. I was hearing things from behind the scenes where it's like, oh, you know they're hearing your questions. This is the reason they're not answering them. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. Like, so if I'm getting this and I know who I'm getting stuff like this from, and I know where I'm hearing this stuff, I was like, okay, it's not necessarily good, but so that's what it was at one point in time. The fact that they're hiring, the fact that they're delivering, the fact that they're actually accomplishing things, no matter how slow it is, the fact that they're keeping up an environment where they're going to these events and making sure they're ingrained in the collector's experience. Like, you got to think about it. At the point where they keep showing up to these collector's events, they're gonna inevitably be a staple in the collector's world, the collector's community. Like it's an app for collectors, and they're ingrained in these Comic-Cons and stuff like that. That in itself is huge. If VeVe continues to be a partner at these Comic-Cons and keep showing their faces, it's like they're gonna start going. VeVe can be a name that goes hand in hand with true collecting. VeVe can really be that name that goes hand in hand with true collecting. Will it ever get to the place like a Ready Player One? Will it ever get to the place in gaming and things like that? That's a hell of a lot more debatable. But as long as they're still showing up at these events, as long as they're still building this audience, building this interest, and having people want the things that's on VeVe, there'll always be some value here. Now, you talk about $10 OMI tokens and $100 OMI tokens and all the stuff at one point in time where VeVe was crushing it, and it looked like certain things was possible if they stayed at that rate. That rate has dropped tremendously, very tremendously. But at the same time, you still see some value here. And if they actually deliver on the dreams that they sold a lot of us, the same potential is still here with VeVe. So that's why I wouldn't necessarily give up on VeVe. I still believe that there's a lot more life left in this project. I don't think that it's even lived yet. Like, the biggest pump that we've ever seen from this project was artificial, and there was some shadiness going on around it. But I think VeVe's genuine biggest pump probably has yet to come. But I don't know what the catalyst, like right now, all they're doing is diluting the shit that they have on VeVe, in my opinion. It's just too much, way too much. Like if you jump on VeVe right now, like who's gonna make that? You can't make your money holding everything on VeVe. There's too much shit on VeVe. And then like, can you even find the important shit? Like, is there, like, can you even find that? Can you even like, you know, like, is it gotta be hard to find the you know, it's too much. It's too much. Like if I got on VeVe right now, it's been so long since I've actually been on VeVe. Like how would I find the stuff that's important? How would I find the stuff that's really valuable or could be valuable or the stuff that the community considers grails? Like, is there a section on VeVe where it's like community considered grails and things like that? Like, no, not actual grails, because then you would be manipulating the price of stuff, but just the stuff that the community, a consensus that, yo, this stuff is really, really valuable on VeVe. Could I get a new investor in? They just look at this list and they decide to sweep that? Could I do that? Like, I don't know if you can find stuff like that easily on VeVe, or if you got to go in, look for different brands, see 16 different Batmans, like, okay, which one of these is valuable? Why? What's the importance of this one? What's the importance of that one? It's like, it's just too much. It's too much on VeVe right now. So I think certain things is going to really have to make certain items pop, and those things are what's going to become valuable and synonymous with VeVe. Like we know the Todds, we know the secret rare Spider-Mans and stuff like that. We know that, but even still, a new person coming into VeVe probably wouldn't even know that much. And that's just realistic. Like Todd looks cool, but there's a lot of other Batman. So coming in and just looking for Batman, chances are somebody might want to invest in one of the ones that maybe not even as valuable or important as the Todd. So yeah, it's just certain things still have to come to make VeVe a lot more of a better experience, especially from an investing standpoint. Just as a collecting standpoint, a bunch of shit to just buy, cool. Yeah, that's cool for VeVe. It's not necessarily cool for those of us who are using it as an investment, because we don't really know what to go for, what to hold, what to have. I mean, outside of the obvious things, if you're OG enough, you know certain things, but outside of these obvious things, we don't know. So yeah, let me know what you all think in the comment section down below. Just some of my thoughts I wanted to share, and I want to hear some of your thoughts and some of your opinions. But that's pretty much it, y'all. Drop that thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on notifications, and I will catch you all on the next one. Peace out, fam.